Good evening, everyone. How are you guys all going? Hopefully well. I think you've all come on with your microphones on mute, but just in case you haven't, just pop your microphone on mute and turn your camera on. We want to see you guys. So welcome and thank you so much for joining the WA Opportunity webinar. I'm sure most of you have met me virtually by now. I've done so many of these things, but if you haven't, my name is Anita. I look after graduate recruitment here at Specsavers, and I look after QUT, the University of New South Wales and University of Canberra. So hi guys, if you're all out there. But before we kick off, also, I just wanted to say a big thank you to our partners who have set this time aside to speak to you about what life as a graduate would be like at their store. If any of you had any questions, please just note them down. We may not have, there's so many partners on the line tonight, so we may not have an opportunity to run through them at the end, but feel free to jot them down and speak to your graduate recruitment consultant directly about them, and we'll be able to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so clicking over to tonight's agenda, Shara, if you could just change the screen for me, awesome. So some of you may or may not know, but until recently, there hasn't been a university that's offering optometry in WA, which has impacted the amount of optometry cover within the region. However, Specsavers now has a community of over 20 newly qualified optometrists from all around Australia and New Zealand in WA. So if you decide to make the move, don't worry, you're not alone. There's a heap of our graduates over there. In a minute, I'm going to pass you over to Sarah, who will spend a few minutes chatting to each of our partners about their store and what they can offer you for your graduate career. Later in the webinar, my colleague Charlotte will also jump on and she'll discuss the benefits for joining Specsavers and yeah, run through a little short video at the end. But I guess that's enough from me. I'll pass you over to Sarah.
Thank you, Anita. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And just reiterating what Anita said, thank you to all of our partners that have put the time aside this evening. And we are very lucky to be joined by 13 stores this evening. So all of you students out there have, a whole lot of stores to hear from. So we're going to give about kind of 5 minutes or so airtime to all of these stores so they can tell you a little bit about themselves and and why you should potentially consider employment with them. So we are going to kick off. So Charlotte, I'll get you to move to the next slide. Fantastic. So kicking off with our Willetton store. So our partners there are Sandy and Tom. I think we've got Tom on the line. Tom, can I just confirm that you're there before I start asking you any questions? Yep, he's giving me a thumbs up. Perfect. Great. Thanks, Tom. Excellent. So Tom, just the first question for yourself. So you have a corneal topographer at your store and a special interest in ortho-K lenses and myopia control, which is obviously a huge area of interest for our students at the moment. So what kind of training would you provide to new grads in this area?
Thanks, Sarah. 2 main avenues of training. The first would be obviously to share the experience of our optometrists here. One of our 3rd-year optometrists is mainly driving the program, and Sandy, the Optom partner, is also pretty heavily involved in ortho-K. So to share, obviously, how to use the topographer and selection criteria for patients is a very important part of successful ortho-K fitting. And just to share the learnings over the past 18 months or so that we've been successfully fitting ortho-K lenses. But also the other big part of the puzzle is an introduction to the rep at, we predominantly use lenses from a supplier by the name of Innovative Contact Lenses, who we believe have the best lenses on the market. So the rep there gives a lot of in-depth information and training, and that's where our guys first learn the fundamentals. So we would provide that introduction as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom. I think, yeah, this is definitely a very appealing area to our students. We're finding more and more. So, Tom, just another question for you. You tend to host a number of clinical placement students every year. So do you think that this is helpful in understanding the support that new grads require into transitioning into their life as an optom? And how do you support your grads with this transition?
Yeah, for sure. Another good Yes, of course, doing it a lot makes us better at it. I guess our big learnings have been that we understand that we need to recognise that every grad's different. You know, we're all individuals, and so we've learned that we need to take the time to understand every individual's needs and what their motivations are, and that we need to be flexible to people's communication styles and learning styles and their idiosyncrasies. And I guess more specifically, we make sure to allocate plenty of face-to-face time and an open door policy, so that the partner or even other senior optometrists are always available to consult. To make it very clear that there's no stupid questions. No one wants to look silly in a new foreign environment where they're the new kid on the block, but we would certainly encourage to ask the more questions, the better. And I think for me personally, being the retail director, I will also make sure that I make myself available for conversations, because it's not only pathology and refraction and so forth that's important to learn about, but also I think to acquire a bit of business acumen is pretty handy too.
Definitely, I think it's really important that our retail partners just play a hugely important role in the graduates mentorship as well. So excellent, thanks Tom. And I know you guys spend a lot of time hosting clinical placement students, which really provides that very good learning environment from your whole team for the new graduates as well. Excellent, thanks Tom. Appreciate you joining us this evening.
Sure.
So moving on to our next store, we have the partners from Clarkson. So Prashant and Sarah, can I just double check that you're on the line with us this evening?
Yep, we're here.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you both for joining us. So Prashant and Sarah, both of you are therapeutically endorsed. Can you tell the students a little bit about the kind of pathology that a graduate would expect to see at your practice?
Yes, I'll take that one. With the therapeutics, we do actually get quite a variety of red eye cases. So just today I had a contact lens case, but we've had a handful of uveitis come in as well. We've got a good relationship with our GPs, and they've been sending through a few to us as well. So we're more than happy to take those. There's the odd abrasion and foreign body. So if you're up to foreign body removals, I occasionally remove some of the metal ones that are not complicated. So if you're up to doing that, we're certainly open to allowing you to do that as well. And with the red eyes also, it's more than happy, open door policy, where if you're not sure what you're seeing, or you just want that second opinion, if is there cells in the anterior chamber, just little things like that, we often get opinions from our colleagues all the time. Even I still do that as well. So yeah, that's the red eye or therapeutics aspect.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that open door policy is very, very important for new graduates, and having both yourself and Sarah as optometry mentors in store is a huge plus for a new graduate as well. And Prashant, you've told us before that you've got a very good relationship and regular contact with your local GPs and with ophthalmologists. So how would you ensure that your graduate develops these relationships as well?
So Sarah's going to take one.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'll speak about that one. Yes, we do have a really good relationship with the GPs in our area. As Prashant mentioned, we do often get quite a few referrals from them. So either for the red eye scenarios, or sometimes if they are a bit uncertain about sending them on to the hospital or for further testing, they do send them to us for us to kind of triage them first. So I think with the GPs, that's something that we already have a good relationship with, and anyone that comes into the store, we can always introduce them to the GP so that they know that we have new graduates in store to help with that. In terms of our ophthalmologists, we've got 3 or 4 local ophthalmologists quite close to us, and again, our relationship with them is very good. We can often email them if we aren't 100% certain about certain patients that we're seeing, and they can informally get back in touch with us to advise whether we need to be referring them urgently, or if if it's something that could be done on a routine basis. So in terms of that, because of that good relationship, we would be able to then offer the graduates the opportunity to potentially, sit in with the ophthalmologists, because they're very willing and willing to help, and actually do like the optometrist being involved. So yeah, that would be one way of, or a couple of ways of us being able to help the graduates with the ophthalmologists and the GPs in the area.
That's excellent. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, it's part of our graduate program that we really encourage our grads to at least once a quarter spend some time, even a half day at the local opthal. So by having that relationship, I think it really helps to, make that nice and easy. And even, it might be more than once a quarter, so that they really get to spend kind of good quality time there. So those relationships are really important. That's fantastic. Yeah. Thank you to yourself and Prashant and Chris for joining us this evening. Really appreciate it. And excellent. We're just moving on to our next store. So we have, just double checking, Vince and Aaron, do we have you guys on the line this evening?
You don't have Vince, unfortunately. He's still making money for the store, but you've got to deal with me.
Excellent. Lovely to see you, Aaron, as always. So just a couple of questions for yourselves. So Maddington's, pretty close to the city, about 15 minutes away, but you see a really wide demographic of patients. Can you tell the students a little bit more, Aaron, about what they would expect to see on a daily basis at your store?
Certainly. So I guess the good thing about working in a Specsavers store, because we are so accessible in terms of price point and all that, I like to say, we get a buffet of different sort of customers in store. So anything from young to old, multicultural, family unit, singles. It sounds weird, and a lot of people say, yeah, you get all sorts of life, all from all walks of life, but over here in Maddington we actually really do. But I guess the good thing about Maddington as well, because we are kind of like a very family oriented suburb, so the cool thing is we have so many families. We literally have seen 3 or 4 generations of them. So some of them, like from 12 years ago, it was like a little 4-year-old boy running around destroying my store. Now he's like a bodybuilder or something like that, like 3 times bigger than me. And yeah, it's very, very fulfilling and really, really nice to see that you've taken care of all the different generations and seeing them from young to old.
Excellent. That just shows what kind of patient service you're offering in store, that they have all of these generations continuing to come back to you. That's fantastic. Thanks, Aaron. And team culture is really important in your store. You describe your team as a big, happy family who love to get together and have fun in and out of work. So tell us a bit more about this, and how do you ensure that your team culture remains really paramount?
Well, to put it really simply, the team is family. So outside of my own family, this is work family. It sounds really cliche, obviously, when you say things like that. Oh, no, we are a big, happy family. But we are slightly dysfunctional sometimes, but as all families are, but we are a family. So we've got like the mom figure, the dad figure. I'm the prodigal son figure. We just do things in the sense that we're coming to work. You need to enjoy yourselves at work. We try to make the atmosphere and the ambience as family oriented as we can, because we do treat each other as family. So it's really, really cool, and the customers can actually feel it as well. It's not very straight up where everyone's really rigid. We've got nicknames for each other. So for some people, they might find it quite unprofessional sometimes, but we obviously tailor ourselves to that. So if you've got a doctor, engineer, or architect coming in, all of a sudden it's, hello, Mr. Smith, how are you today? But if it's one of our regulars, it's like, hi, Jim, how are you? Did the Eagles win or did they lose or whatnot? So it's really, really family oriented. And we are very food driven in store over here. So I've noticed that all my team members and my family, they are really, really greedy. We have very, very regular team meetings. I always bring weird and wacky snacks and food and beverages. We do a lot of outdoor activities. And like I said, whenever we do any dinners or team meetings, whenever there's food involved, they tend to be really, really happy. And I think food is the glue that's keeping my Specsavers family together.
think that for sure. Excellent. That's wonderful, Erin. And yeah, look, I think, obviously a lot of our graduates to Perth, and they are moving into states. So that team culture piece is really important, and kind of finding their new work family, I guess, or their home away from home over in Perth. So I think that's a really important factor. So excellent. Well, thank you for joining us this evening, Erin. Love to hear from you as always. Excellent. Now, moving on to our next store, which is Albany. Kate and Johan, do we have you guys on the line this evening?
Hi, Sarah. Sorry, I'm just unmuting myself. Johan's not here.
Fantastic. Hi, Kate. How are you?
Hi.
Welcome, welcome. Yeah, good. Thank you. So you guys are our only regional store this evening, located in lovely South WA. So a little bit different to the other stores on the webinar. And so you're located in the beautiful coastal country town of Albany, which you describe as a small town, but with all the amenities. So Kate, can you tell us a little bit more about what you feel would attract a graduate to the area?
Albany is a beautiful place to live. So it would suit somebody who's outdoorsy, because there's lots of fishing and surfing, and it's, BMX riding, and it's just a really beautiful town with, nice green mountains and beautiful coastline. So yeah, it's a small town, but it's got everything that you need down here. And we see all sorts of patients in Albany as well. So really great learning experience, and we're similar in that we've got, quite a young team, and everybody sort of socializes outside of work, and we go out for dinners regularly. So I think being in the country as well, it's sort of easy to make friends down here. So yeah, I think it would be great for a grad for their first experience working.
Fantastic. Well, I know you moved to Albany yourself, Kate, a few years ago, and you've never looked back. So well, it's wonderful.
Working in the country,
yeah, great.
The work itself is your patients really appreciate you being there, helping them, and they're very understanding if you're running late, or they're just warm and friendly and lovely. So the work itself is really rewarding.
Fantastic. So you got that lovely country feel. Fantastic. Excellent. And you have a really good relationship and regular telehealth sessions with Associate Professor Angus Turner of the Lions Eye Institute, which is fantastic. So what learnings can a new grad expect to get in this area with you guys?
The telehealth is awesome because it's bulk billed to Medicare, and it's really easy. You can just send Angus pictures on your phone and emails, and it's just peace of mind. You can sit there in the room with the patient and just be talking to Angus and say, what do you think this is? And he's very, he's young and informal and non-judgmental ophthalmologist. So he's really good to work with, and just doing these telehealths, we've really learned a lot. We've got 3 other ophthalmologists here in Albany as well. So there's a general and a couple of other specialists. So yeah, previously when Angus started doing the telehealth, it was because we didn't have enough ophthalmology down here. But we've got lots of ophthalmology down here now. It's just nice to have the telehealth just for, our own learning as well. You can sort of be in the room and learn about, different conditions. So
yeah, excellent. Yeah, and I think having local ophthalmology as well is quite reassuring to new graduates. So that's great.
We've got 2 full-time optometrists as well. So yeah, lots of support.
Lots of doors to knock on, and I know you've got a lot of experience within your store. That's great. Thanks, Kate. Thanks so much for joining us from Albany this evening. Wonderful. All right, so moving on. Next, we have John from Belmont Forum. So John, just confirming that you're here with us this evening. I think I saw him join earlier. He might be taking himself off mute.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, John. Welcome. How are you this evening?
Can you see me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we can
I'm good,
indeed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yourself?
that's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
very,
good,
very
yeah,
well.
good.
Thank you. Excellent. Thanks so much for joining us this evening, John. So just a couple of questions for you. So at your store, some of your special interests include therapeutics, BV, and pediatrics. Can you tell the students a bit more about what kind of exposure they would get in this area?
Well, you know, I've had you know, I've got a lot of ongoing cases. Like, for example, I've got this person who's for the last 7 days been on, you know, Orchiflox and, you know, dental therapeutics. We've got a few glaucoma cases. You know, they have some uveitis going on, and yeah, there's lots of dry eyes, and you know, there's a lot of BV stuff we get. You know, the other day my grad was sorting out some double vision. So yeah, first year. So yeah, there's a lot of you know, we see a lot of different cultures here. You know, it's a big mix. And then, you know, the grad would also be I think he or she would be very fit in really nicely with the team. Yeah, very lots of exposure here. Yeah,
lots of exposure. Great. Yep. Perfect. Sorry, John, you're breaking up just a tiny bit, but I think you were mentioning your new grads, and that kind of is a nice segue to my next question. So you have recently employed a new graduate from the University of Melbourne. So how did you ensure that she settled in well to the team, and and how did you kind of, you know, tailor your mentorship towards her specific development needs?
Well, there's a lot of like coaching and sort of monitoring, and she's doing really well. She's also due to go to you know, like a ophthalmologist to do some observing as well, and yeah, we get on really well. And then just so yeah,
she's going really well. I think it's always really important. I think, or, you know, it's a good I guess it's quite appealing for our students to know that there's another new graduate in store, for, you know, who's just gone through kind of what they're going to be going through, and just to have that kind of additional support system in store, I think as well, is really great. So fantastic. That's great. Perfect. Anything else you want to add about your new graduate, or kind of just because you cut out a little bit there, just anything else that you want to add about your store in general, John?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the staff are also quite young and, you know, university students. So I think, you know, any sort of grad coming in would fit in really well, because they'd have most of the peers would be quite, you know, quite a similar age group, and it's you know, they get on really well, and it's good. I think it's good to have a lot of uni students around, because then, you know, you can sort of share experiences, and they can go out for dinner, and we have quite a good mixture of you know, the customers are they're so mixed. They could be quite old, and lots of pathology. You know, like I always get asked you know, all the time from other optoms, what do you think of the, you know, second opinion, and yeah, I've been doing this for like 20 years, so I've got lots of experience, and I always get asked all the questions.
Excellent. And you always take a lot of clinical placement students for us as well, John.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Definitely well versed in the art of mentorship at this stage.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you, John, for joining us this evening. Appreciate your time.
Okay.
Excellent. So moving on to Manjura. So Luke, I think I saw Luke join the call a little bit earlier. Are you there, Luke? Perhaps he's coming off mute. Luke, are you there this evening?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Luke. How are you going? Are you there, Luke? Okay, yes, perfect. We can see you. Yes, I can hear you. Excellent. Hope you're all doing well there in Manjura this evening. Perfect. So Luke, just a couple of questions for you. So you've mentored about 6 students or graduates over the years. Or 6 students, should I say, a lot of them have joined you as a graduate. That's including your most recent Deacon grad, Michelle, who joined you in October. So what do you think you offer as a mentor, or what does your store offer to students that makes them so keen to stay on with you and commence their career as an optom?
I joined Specsavers myself as a new grad 10 years ago. And I still remember clearly what it was like on my first day as a real optom. And then I was very excited and nervous at the same time. I know all of you have been training very hard, and most of you are probably ready to start straight away. But there are certain aspects in optometry which come with time and experience. And my job as a mentor is to build up on their existing knowledge and skills to become a more effective and efficient clinician in a real life setting. And Mandurah is one of the largest stores in WA, with the demographics skewed more towards the elderly. And currently, 40% of our patients are over the age of 60, and that gives a lot of exposure to various clinical cases, especially in regards to ocular pathology and therapeutics. So if you have a keen interest in that area, Mandurah can offer a great environment. And I'll be one of the optometrists here will be available next door always, so that you can knock on the door whenever you need a second opinion or guidance. So yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Luke. So yeah, that's a great segue into my next question, actually. So being a 6 test room store and being one of the bigger stores in WA, can you tell the students a bit about how your clinic works? So, how it would work with regards to pre-testing, with regards to rolling clinics?
Yeah, we have 5 rooms fully kitted up. We've got 2 long form rooms, plus 3 short form rooms. And we have 5 full-time optoms, and we have the diary staggered by 5 minutes, so that we don't overlap too much. And some of us work 4 longer days rather than 5 standard days. That way, we can minimize the number of days that we use 4 clinics at the same time. So that makes the flow quite a bit more efficient. So if you are working 4 longer days rather than 5 standard days, suits you better, in terms of work-life balance, then we can certainly look into putting that down the track. And our clinical coordinator is very, very trained, and is very mindful about how the clinics roll. So we make sure that all clinics run on time. And so far, we haven't had any major issues, even though we are running a large clinic in Mandurah.
It sounds like a very, very efficiently run store. Fantastic. That's great, Luke. And yeah, okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening and for talking us through how things work in those kind of larger practices. Really appreciate you joining us, Luke. Fantastic. Excellent. So we are moving on to our Riverton store. I do think we've got Joa on the line. Are you there, Joa? Yes, I think I can hear you. Yep. Hey, and Luke. Lovely to see you both. How are you this evening?
Good, very good.
That's good. That's good. Thank you so much for joining us. So in regards to questions for you, so you do a lot of therapeutic management, co-management with local ophthalms for diabetes and glaucoma, and also myopia control. So, similar to what some of the other stores have done for us this evening, can you tell us a little bit more about the kind of exposure the new grad will, get in these areas?
I'll take this question. So as a recent grad myself from about 5 years ago, I can really appreciate how reassuring it is to have a local ophthalmology, especially from a variety of different subspecialties. Like many of our peers, we have an excellent relationship with many of the local ophthalms. Around Riverton, to mention a few, that's Murdoch Ophthalmology, where Dr. Kai Go and Dr. Jason Lim specialize in glaucoma. There's South Street Eye Clinic, where Dr. Kang, Dr. Yelicich do the retinal things, and Lion's Eye, where Dr. Anthony Clark does a lot of myopia control. And we have excellent relationship with all of these doctors, so you can expect to see a lot of referrals from usually post-operative from cataracts, but also 6-monthly glaucoma reviews, lots of cycloplegic refraction for kids, following myopia control. We also have pretty good ties with the GPs around the area. So like many Specsavers, we do get lots of the red eyes. We do a lot of foreign body removals here. And it's amazing how appreciative the GPs and the patients can be, having to come to us to remove a foreign body instead of having to wait hours at emergency. And I think it's also really important to highlight the opportunities to sit in with the ophthalmologist, because I think that really helps when you're referring patients, be able to put a face to a name, and it really helps when building rapport and relationship with the ophthalmologist as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Joa, for talking us through that. It does sound like you've got a fantastic relationship with those local ophthalmologists and do a lot of co-management together, and that's definitely something that the graduates can expect to see in your store. And you also mentioned to me that there's a big focus on training and development in your team, and that you want every team member to be multi-skilled. So can you provide a bit more information on what kind of ongoing training and development might look like for a new graduate in your team?
I'll cover some of that, then Joa may step in, Sarah. Look, we always have a strong focus for development for all of our team, in particular Optoms. I think we've got a lot of experience. We're pretty good at it here. We've done it for a long time. Myself personally, since the mid-90s, I've been mentoring Optoms in Western Australia, and it's about showcasing the whole industry to grads, not just one part of it, all parts of it, and aligning that to training and ophthalmology and great optometry and the great equipment and world-class service that we offer. The equipment that we have these days is just world-class, and communicating with different techniques online is just fantastic. Look, we like to bring energy and positive attitudes. We love to be a great role model. We definitely take a personal interest in mentoring the relationship. We value, the ongoing industry and the growth within it, and encourage people to, to go to WAVE and to different Western Australian functions, particularly in a COVID environment. We definitely want that to happen. We offer so much guidance and support. We have a team that respects each other and their colleagues. We've worked very hard to get the team that we want at Riverton, and we want it to stay that way. We invite people to listen. We definitely value their opinion, and I think we always follow up. We want to be motivators and set and lead by an example. I think it's a great place to work, Specsavers, particularly at Riverton. We've been in the market, 11.5 years here. As long as you have. Very high retention of customers, very community award-winning store, probably one of actually the biggest, I think, in WA. We're very proud of that and giving back in that way. Over to Joa.
Yeah, I think it can't be understated enough how important it is to have a robust team around optometry, because you could be, an amazing optometrist running on time all the time, but without the team to support you, it's definitely a lot harder than it is.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
This man saves stuff. He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. And as a recent graduate yourself, Joa, you can really relate to the new graduates in store and very much have a handle on the kind of development needs that they have. It does sound like, you both have an amazing kind of leadership ethos in your store together, and you take a very individual approach to, tailoring all of your your employees' needs, which is fantastic. So really great to hear from you both this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll move on to Specsavers Wanneroo. So I think we may have Birju on the line, but I'm not 100% sure who is representing us from Wanneroo this evening. It may be Kim.
Yeah, hi, and
Hi,
Kitty.
Kim. And Kitty,
How you
perfect. How are you both?
Kitty's
Yes,
joining
great.
us as well.
Yeah.
So we're in
Excellent.
separate rooms. So
No problem. Perfect. Thank you
Put us
so
both
much
up.
for joining us. I think Berju was on annual leave today, if I'm
He
right
is,
in remembering
yes,
that.
yeah.
Really
Heading up to
appreciate.
Cyclone Centre.
Oh, okie dokie. Hopefully he's nice and safe.
He's safe.
Great holiday ahead of him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you both for joining us. Really appreciate you coming on this evening. And so with Wanneroo, you guys see quite the range of patients. When Birgit was talking me through it, it was from 3-year-olds all the way through to 90-year-olds. And so can you tell the students about what kind of pathology you see and what they would expect to manage in your practice?
I'll take this one. I don't know if
Kitty.
you can. Yeah, is it possible? Oh, okay, cool. Can you guys see me?
Hear and see you perfectly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, lovely. So just a bit of background on me. So I'm one of the optometrists working at Specsavers Wanneroo. I'm also the chairperson at Eco Careers Optometrists for OWA here. And so I've been working at Specsavers Wanneroo for about 4 years since graduating uni. So got a bit of an idea of what you guys are going through at the moment. But what I enjoy the most about working at the store is pretty much getting a feel of what sort of ocular pathologies you get coming in. So we can see a lot of we have a lot of young families with kids that come in with an eye turn or having failed their kindy health screening, and the nurse says just get your eyes tested. From there, they usually have just an inwards turn where we just have to cyclo. We end up giving them glasses for. You learn a lot by just interacting with a lot of the kids, and you get a lot of experience about doing BV workups, as well as just knowing how to instill cyclo drops without making them cry. That's a big point that I've learnt here. The other part as well, on the other end of the spectrum, is we get a lot of our elderly patients coming into Wanneroo, and most of them have chronic eye diseases like glaucoma, macular degeneration, obviously the big one, cataracts. Most of whom are already aware of this. If not, the great thing about this is that you get very familiar with communicating these issues with the patients, and with our local ophthalmologists, they've been great because they've actually got specialties in these particular fields. So it's a very easy referral. We have very great rapport with them. As one of the only therapeutically endorsed optometrists working there as well, I get to treat a lot of different problems. So they come in with something as simple as foreign body removals. I'm there to help treat it. And then sometimes I get something as complex as a bacterial infection in the eye from contact lenses, or even some inflammation in the eye that sometimes can come up on routine finding. So you learn a lot just by working there. And if I get confused, Berju's really that Berju's been great, and he provides a lot of feedback and opinions if I do need a bit of help on things. So I guess from my experience, one of the biggest things I've had that I've learnt or seen is that I have at least seen one retinal detachment every single year. So the first one was pretty much a girl that just came in for our first eye test, no symptoms, bam, right there, big inferior retinal detachment that luckily didn't need surgery, so just laser. And then the last one I had was on New Year's Eve. She had one superior retinal detachment up top, had to send her for an emergency surgery, and then the opthal found 20 more retinal tears. So that was great fun. So you get to learn a lot from just from working here.
Oh, she definitely had a great New Year's Eve, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. She kept her sight, so it was fine.
Okay, amazing. Well done, Kitty. Thank you. It's so nice to hear from you, Kitty, as well, to hear from kind of someone that's worked in store, that's done this ahead of, you've been in the shoes of these students, 4 years ago. So really, really lovely to hear from you. And thank you. Berju was definitely not lying when he said you see a very wide spectrum of patients and different cases coming through your door every day. That's great. So you guys are based in a shopping centre, and you're very much involved in the community, busy all year round. Can you tell us a bit more about the community involvement, maybe as well including kind of relationships with other local healthcare providers?
I'll pass that to Kim for that one.
Perfect, thanks, Kitty.
Okay, so we've been open for about 11 years, and during that time we've built up quite a healthy relationship with the local ophthalmologists and local practices. One of the local ophthalmologists is the head of the ophthalmology unit at Sir Charles Gardner, and we have a relationship, that Kitty and Bergie can email or call if needed. And obviously, if they need a quick referral or anything like that, it's handled. We've got 5 local GP practices around us, one of them being Wanneroo Super Clinic, which is a massive. So can you see me or hear me?
Can hear you fine, Kim. Can't see you, but
can't
can
see me?
hear you perfectly. Yep, all good.
I've got my video on, but I don't know why it's not working.
No problem. Some beautiful
I'll just keep
flowers, I
talking.
think, or something as a picture there. That's okay. Go for it.
Oh, hang on. I'll turn that around maybe.
Oh, we can see you now.
Can you see me now?
Yes,
Facing the
absolutely.
wrong way. So we have a healthy two-way communication with the local GPs as well, and we get the majority of their management care plans through to us. So we see a lot of diabetic patients on those care plans. So the community is really diverse and quite the demographic is very diverse. It sort of started off as an old sort of market garden community, and over the years it's developed into a thriving suburb. But obviously we've got a lot of those old patients that are still there, and we sort of see all their families and their children, and when you've been there a long time, you see the kids growing up and whatnot. We've been heavily involved since we've opened with Wanneroo Rotary and Wanneroo Sports Club as well, and we've done sort of team bowls nights and things with them, and we've had great nights in there. We've supported Wanneroo Rotary like enormously over the years, and they're very, very loyal to us. We've done wheelchairs for kids and supported the Burma Medical Fund. So a lot of our old equipment has gone to Burma, and donations of glasses before we came sort of more Fred Hollows involved. So we've, kept that relationship going. And obviously through that, we've got a lot of loyal customers that come through. We've done collecting food for the homeless and things through Rotary as well. So the team get quite, passionate about, I suppose, and get involved with the community and like sort of doing things to help. We've also got a lot of retirement villages and homes around us that we have supported and done social events with, and sort of held community like information evenings and done pop-up shops in the shopping centre, both with audiology and eyes as well, and done sort of talks to people that want to come into the centre. So yeah, quite diverse, but just quite a lovely sort of community spirit that the shopping centre has, and the community itself. So
wow, that is a lot, Kim. That's amazing. What an incredible community involvement. And we get asked this all the time by our students: how can I get involved in the local community, or in outreach, or in any something kind of charitable outside of my day-to-day practice? And just to hear how involved and busy you are all year round with the local community is I think it's going to be something that's really appealing to our students, particularly those moving into state who really want to get involved in something like that. So yeah, that's wonderful. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Kim and Kitty, for joining us this evening.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect. So moving on to Midland Gate. I think I saw Vivek join the call earlier. Vivek and Jean. Yeah. Hi, Vivek. How's it going this evening?
Yeah, good. How are you?
That's good. Very well. Thank you. Yeah. Good. So Vivek, just a couple of questions for yourself. You also have a corneal topographer in your store. Do you have a lot of patients going through Ortho-K or using RGPs? And what kind of training do you provide to your new graduates in this area as well?
We do have quite a few going through Ortho-K, and a few RGP patients who are mainly the keratoconus patients. With Ortho-K, in fact, I think in the last few weeks, we've done about 5 or 6 that just recently, which we're waiting on the lens for. In regards to training, obviously you get training from all the experienced optometrists that are fitting Ortho-K in store. Also working closely with all the different companies, Gelflex, Manicone, Innovative Contacts. They all set up webinars, as well as come in store to help us out and give us further training. So there is lots of options. Some of them you could just pick up the phone to troubleshoot if we need to, and they're always happy to help. That's
great. Sounds like there's a lot of support there for any grads that do want to kind of to gain more experience, you know, in the ortho care area. Great, thanks, Vivek. So you have 4 full-time experienced optoms in your store, which obviously provides a lot of support for new grads. So how do you structure your new graduates' mentorship in your store to ensure that they, you know, receive consistent mentorship from you, but also getting to spend, you know, time with all of the other individual optoms in store?
Yes, so normally what we do is I do allocate weekly timing for the grads to catch up with the grads, see where they need help, what they're doing well, and where they need to improve on. So we go through every little bits of their skills as well. And in regards to mentorship with and learning from other optometrists, we do have optometrists that have different areas of interest. So we have glaucoma. One of our optoms is really interested in glaucoma. So if there's any glaucoma questions, including myself, I would go to her. Therapeutics, we've also got ortho K, where we're doing a lot of myopia control. And then BV stuff, I think that's where all of us get worried. So we do open door policy. You could just knock on the door if you're stuck and you need a second opinion. So it's really, and we do run our clinic slightly different. So there is a bit of slack in the clinic. So if you're running a bit behind, it doesn't matter. Just knock on the door, come get one of us, and we'll be happy to help. Also with mentorship, I think it depends on what you want at the end. You know, some optometrists want to just remain optometrists. Some want to go on and become partners like I did. And we actually have our grad, no, she's in 3rd year now. She's just finished her grad program, who's on her way to partnership. So there's different types of mentorship we provide. Yeah, that's, I mean, with optometry, with other optometrists, if there is certain skills you would like to learn that you're not confident at, we could book out some time so that you could spend time with that optometrist as well.
That's great, Vivek. I think it's important for the new grads to become really well-rounded, and they'll obviously get to do that by, you know, getting those golden nuggets of information from, you know, the different optoms in your store that all have these kind of specialty areas. And yeah, I recruited Anne myself about 3 years ago, and it's, you know, I remember her as a student, and it's so wonderful now that she's on her way to becoming a partner. So I know how supportive you are in your store of that kind of career development. It's great. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks.
Wonderful. We'll move on to Livingston. Des, I think I saw you join us earlier. Are you there? Oh, sorry, I've actually jumped one ahead. Apologies. Whitford, Kamal and Andre, are you guys on the line? I think I did see you join earlier.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Good, Kamal. Good to see you. How's it going?
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. And good evening to all the soon-to-be graduates.
Exactly. Thank you, Kamal.
Very exciting time for everybody.
It is indeed, absolutely. So a lot ahead of them and a lot to consider at the moment. So there's a lot of information for them to take in this evening. So yeah, so let's hear from you guys there in Whitford. So Kamal, when you were talking to me about your store, you said one of your core values in store is ensuring every team member is provided with a great place to work, which I loved. So can you tell us a bit more about how you provide your graduate optometrists with an environment that really supports and develops their clinical competence and their learning?
Thanks, Sarah. So this is something that I really have a passion for, and it's about how you see yourself as a mentor. And I see it as an honor and a privilege. And I think it's one of those things that it depends on that relationship that you develop with your mentee. So it's about, you know, inspiring confidence and self-reliance. And that can only happen by having a good communication, having a good, you know, you're developing trust, you're developing rapport, and you want to make sure your mentee knows they can make mistakes. Everyone's making mistakes here and there. And the reality is you need a supportive environment. So this is really about making use of something that's already been said, but I really value what we call our protected time. And this is just, basically time outside of the store where it's a one-to-one, undisturbed conversation, usually over a nice hot coffee and a small piece of cake or something. But the reality is that you have a chance to just discuss things one-to-one. And in these meetings, there will often be the need to bring in my retail partner, Andre, or maybe someone else from the team. And we just continue to sort of focus and hone in on areas of development. And look, the critical thing for me is this. I know I'm doing a good job when I make myself redundant. So the idea here is that you become self-reliant and self-supportive, but the fact is, this can only happen with having an accessible mentor. So yes, people have used the expression open door, and I agree with that. I support that wholeheartedly. A knock on the door, no matter how busy you are, is great. It's an opportunity to be there to support somebody who needs you. And I think that at this particular time in our graduates' trajectory and career, it's nice to be able to offer something back. So this profession has given me so much, and I feel I'd like to give back. So I guess that's the passion.
Fantastic. Yeah, look, I think you pretty much segued into my next question, which was kind of, you've got over 8 years experience mentoring. You're an honorary teaching fellow at the University of Auckland. So, mentoring is, second nature to you at this stage, Kamal. And so how do you kind of tailor your mentorship style? So say, for example, the last 2 graduates that you've taken, how did you kind of identify different things that they needed?
Here you've got, in this particular scenario, for example, the 2 graduates so different. There's one graduate who required weekly sessions, and we found areas of interest, areas of questions, areas of development, and whether it would be reading a paper, the evening before and coming and discussing. So we'd look for some, if there was something unusual in terms of pathology, and then just coming back in our protected time and following through, asking questions and saying, what did you learn? What did you learn from that paper? So the ideal thing is in those protected times where we go through and we pick up a couple of things that we then put into practice. So it's about really understanding each other, really about saying we can always learn. And that's one thing that I feel, as for myself, I've been doing this for 30 years and still learning. It's like, it doesn't stop. And so I think I want to sort of cultivate that in a graduate. You can never feel that you know enough, so to speak. And so with this specific learning, what we try to do also is develop that visitation with ophthalmology and with the GPs. A lot of our ophthalmologists, in fact, virtually all of them are very accessible, and to the point where, in fact, we've got such a great working relationship that some of my graduates have sent SMSs in the evening with pictures and OCT scans, and can you help me with that? What do you think? And so they've devised management plans there and then with an instant response from the ophthalmologist. So I think really it's about seeking enjoyment. It's about fulfilling needs, and it's about understanding each other.
Right, and learning from your graduate as well, I think, is always a big
That's
one.
right.
Like you said, you're still learning after 30 years, and I'm sure your new graduates have, you could, like you said, learn from each other. That's great. Thank you so much, Kamal, for joining us this evening and talking us through that. We really appreciate you.
No worries, thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. And so moving on to Livingston. Des, I think we have you on the line. How are you this evening?
Hi there, Sarah. You all right? Can you hear me okay?
Very well. We can hear you. We can see you. All good. How have you been?
Okay, I had a bit of problem with my computer, so I had to go onto my phone.
That's all good.
But it's all sorted.
No
Yes.
worries. You look steady there, so I don't think we're having any issues. So that's all good. So Des, you've over 10 years in kind of mentorship experience between here and the UK. You've a recent graduate, Eliza, in your store. So Eliza made the move over from Melbourne. So how have you ensured that she settled in with your team and with you as a mentor and her new life in Perth?
Now, to be honest, really with Eliza, it was a little bit more of a complicated thing with the whole thing with COVID, because she had to come over and there was the whole lockdown situation and everything like that. So I was even talking to her about this whole thing and how everything went. And basically, she said the key thing is that we kept an open line of communication. And I think that's the main thing. Throughout the whole things with anything to do with relationships, communication is basically the major thing. So we planned everything really well, communication all the way through. And that was basically just getting her over here. Once we actually did all that, basically getting her to settle down into the team, this is where, honestly, I can't put everything down to me as a mentor. I think it's our whole team, the whole store. Everyone wants to help each other. And that's always been the case, really. Myself and Daniel, who isn't on the line today, we've always sourced our store mainly as a place to just really enjoy, and basically empowering our own staff to just kind of get involved, to try and get to basically fulfill the potential effectively. So I think having that sort of basis, having other people to lean on, which is always about not just leaning on one person, you get experience, you get the right sort of feel for the place, really, basically.
Yeah.
Now, talking about moving over from Melbourne and things like that, obviously for Eliza personally, I think moving away from a family, especially during these times, I mean, I've went through that just recently where, well, I moved over here 3 years ago from the UK. It's lucky that my missus, she's Australian, and I have been here beforehand, but still, obviously, I haven't seen my folks for a few years now, which is a shame. But look, I'm not missing it too much, obviously, because obviously it's Australia, first of all, but WA is a lovely place to be, really. Compared to other places in Australia, no offense to the rest of Australia, I love WA. I just think it's a great place to be. That's the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can attest to that. And as I made the move to Perth as well when I first landed here 9 years ago, and it is an absolutely beautiful place to live with an incredible lifestyle. So yeah, I'm sure Eliza is really enjoying it and definitely not regretting her move at all. So you mentioned you've got a really kind of strong emphasis on the importance of team in your store. So kind of when you say you all lean on each other, and how do you ensure that kind of culture, team development remains really important? What kind of things do you guys do as a team together?
Well, to be honest, we actually have our own sort of social person who deals with all. We basically put someone involved. I mean, set up someone just to sort out team nights out, things like that. We do training sessions. I've even had the ophthalmologist, a local ophthalmologist, come in and do a talk for us. I'm in the process of even trying to get someone who deals with autism, like Autism Australia or something to do with WA, and they're going to come in and just do a talk for us. So little things like that, getting a little bit more from the community, learning and just improving just how we are as a team, and then moving from there, we can actually push to give the best customer service. And as a team, we could do the best job in the test room, but without the guys outside, we're nothing. And this is what we've always said: no one's above each other. Everyone has to work together. And I think that's what we really want to kind of push on.
That's basically right. Making sure that your team is kind of constantly upskilling themselves as well is really important, Des. That's just I think a great way to kind of maintain that fantastic team culture and make sure that everyone's knowledge sharing and getting kind of those external people in to make sure that your team is really across things is a great way to do things. Fantastic. Thank you, Des. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We'll talk to you soon. Wonderful. And next up we have our Kalamunda partners. I think we've got Caitlin on the line. Caitlin, I think I spotted you earlier. Are you there?
I am, Sarah. How are you?
Good. How are you this evening?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
Good. No problem. Lovely to have you. So Caitlin, tell us a little bit about you guys. So you're currently a one test room store. You're going to be relocating in August. So tell the students a bit about your fabulous new store, what it's going to look like in terms of pre-testing, test rooms, how you plan to run the clinic, and any other perks that come with a lovely new store.
Yeah. So at the moment we currently live in a shoebox, so we're very much looking forward to having some more space for activities. Like you said, we've just got the one test room at the moment, so we are expanding to possibly even have like 4 rooms available, but we will only have 2 test rooms kitted out for optometry. We'll also have 1 room for audiology, which will be welcoming after our refits. So at the moment, we do have one full-time optometrist. So that's my partner, Karishma. She has done a lot of mentoring in the past, has a lot of experience. I know I've learned a lot of her, so she's got a lot to offer there. We are looking forward to having a lot more clinical space, so room for more contact lens fits, to see a lot more contact lens patients, more storage, that's a big one. Some little things as well. So we are very team oriented, and we're looking forward to having more staff space. So like a tea room, an equipped kitchen, some office space, things like that. As for pre-test, at the moment, we've got a combined pre-test visual field room. So we are very, very much looking forward to welcoming separate pre-test and visual fields. In pre-test, we've got OCT, and in the visual field, we will have the new Humphrey Matrix visual field machine. That's about it, really. But yeah, just really looking forward to having some more space.
I bet you are. Yes.
Some more people.
Bring on August, that's for sure. That's great. And yeah, so in terms of welcoming new people, so you said you're a very tight-knit team in Kalamunda. So what are you going to do to ensure that your new grad settles into the area, settles into the team?
Yeah, so we do have quite a tight-knit team. We have only quite a small team, in saying that they are very, very welcoming. So even I can say personally, as much as I've worked for the company for a long while, I've worked in optics and for the company for over 10 years, I am quite new to this store, and they have been very, very welcoming to me. I've felt very comfortable from day one, and they've made me feel very much like a family. So, you know, I'm happy to pass that knowledge on. That is how they make you feel. We do encourage a very friendly and open environment. We encourage good communication and honesty. We have a lot of staff from a lot of different walks of life, so everyone's very, very open and you know, very welcoming and just really easy to get along with. We do have quite an open structure in store, which we will continue on in the new store as well. So everyone does a little bit of everything, which we find works quite well, because everyone's happy to help one another out. No one's sort of left behind. There's no silly questions. Everyone's very encouraged and you know, utilised throughout the store in all the different roles. So yeah, everyone sort of learns a little bit of everything. We do get the work done, and patients are very much our priority, but we also like a bit of a laugh here. We very much like to sort of have a bit of a muck around and a bit of a play behind closed doors. We have been known to wander over to the pub after work on a Thursday night and grab a bite together. One of the good things about working in Kalamunda is we do have a great pub right across the road. If anyone's keen on a beer, I'm sure you can always find someone here that will wander across with you after work. But yeah, we just sort of like to be friends and like to feel like family and make sure that everyone feels welcome.
That's awesome. That sounds like a really amazing environment for a new graduate. And I'm sure as your team grows as well, you know, they're not going to be the only newbie. There's going to be a lot of new retail staff and whatnot. So yeah, that's fantastic. Excellent. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for joining us this evening. Really appreciate it.
Excellent. Thanks,
wonderful.
Sarah.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. And last but not least, we have our partners at Karanyub. I definitely saw Angela on the line earlier, and potentially we've got Terry as well. Are you guys there?
I'm definitely here.
Hi, Angela. How are you this
Can you
evening?
hear me?
Yes, I can indeed hear you.
Can you see me?
I can't see you. It seems to, your camera doesn't appear to be coming up as yet. Oh, there we go. I can definitely see you now.
Okay.
Excellent.
Right.
Perfect. Thanks for joining us, Angela. Terry's not on the line this evening.
No, he's not here at the minute.
That's
so
no problem.
Myself, we're going to have to make do with just me.
more than happy with that. Thanks, Angela. So you guys are another, store who has a very exciting relocation coming up. So talk to us a little bit more about the mall redevelopment. It sounds like it's going to be the biggest in Perth, and what your store is going to look like, and how do you plan to grow the team and run the clinic?
Okay, so yeah, we're really excited at the minute because like we've been trading here since 2009. We've got a huge bottle of wine, so the tiny box that we're in, it's very difficult for us to actually deal with the people who are coming in. So we've expanded out into the mall. We've pushed chairs out into the mall just to make room for the people who are coming through. So in October, we're going to be moving to a store that's more than double the size that we're at the minute. So we've got 79 squares at the minute, and we're getting 195. Wow. So just to sort of give you an idea, they've invested 800 million in Carnap. They're going to be bringing lots of really exciting brands like Zara. We're getting a Holy Moly. We're getting really nice restaurants. Carnap's sort of close to CBD, but it's also close to the ocean. A lot of young people like to live like in Scarborough and Trig and all these sort of really cool places. So Carnap's very convenient to these areas. And I think the bar is going to have sort of like a city view. So you're going to be able to go to the bar and sit and go to the city. But yeah, it's going to be beautiful. And we're all very excited about it. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Very good. If you've got chairs out in the mall, I think you're probably definitely looking forward to moving into your 195 square meters. Excellent. Sandra, I'm sure you've worked alongside Terry over the years as he's mentored, several students, several graduates, and can you tell us a bit more about Terry's, mentorship style and how you guys as mentors together ensure that your grads, development is a priority?
Yeah, Terry's very calm sort of person and very much an academic, but yeah, he does explain things really well. He has mentored a lot of OCAN students, so we've had quite a few OCAN students come through over the years, and one of them who came through here actually went on to have her own store, and she's in the process of opening up a second store. She was very successful. But yeah, so there was always a great interest in the therapeutics and stuff like that, and really good communication with the ophthalmologists. We've had a local ophthalmologist recently, well, just last year. Dr. Khan came out and did a presentation for us for the local community. We had the Rotary Club and the Carnap Walkers come, and we sort of commandeered a bit of the shopping centre, and she gave a talk on diabetic retinopathy and blepharitis as well, which, it seems, not that sort of important or whatever, but so many people are suffering from blepharitis, and that was what people were coming and saying just like, oh, it's so good that we were able to get this information and how to because we're just suffering this and not really getting the treatment. So yeah, so that was something that was a lot of our patients were really pleased about. But yeah, he seems to have a really good relationship with the ophthalmologists and the doctors in the area.
That's excellent. Yeah, Terry's certainly put a lot of work into kind of different mentorship over the years, and like you said, some partners that have come over from overseas or who are now partners now has Terry to thank for their career. That's great. Thank you so much, Angela, for joining us this evening. Excellent. I think that's it from me. I'm sure you're all probably sick of hearing my voice now, but thank you so much to all of our lovely partners for doing this Q&A with me. And what I'm going to do is hand over to Charlotte to talk you guys through the salary and the package that we're offering a little bit more. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you again for all dialing in. I won't keep you for too much longer. I just wanted to quickly run through, I guess, our salary packages for WA, and also just run through some of the fantastic benefits that come alongside joining us over in the gorgeous Perth area. So a few of you will have already had conversations with your graduate recruitment consultants. You might be across these salaries, these benefits already. As a good reminder, I'm going to run through them anyway. So essentially every Specsavers business is classified from metro through to outer regional, and this is essentially aligned to the kilometre distance of the store in comparison to the CBD. So I popped the salaries are up there on the screen. So essentially, if you were to join in a metro location, you're looking at an 80,000 base salary. Your super is additional to this, a one-off 5k sign-on bonus, and then a 1,250 quarterly load-in. So with the quarterly load-ins, essentially for every 3 months that you work, you receive that lump sum of 1,250 in your pay packet. Moving on to outer metro, you're looking at the same base as metro, an additional 5k sign-on bonus, that 10k one-off bonus, and the same quarterly load-in. Jumping up to regional, an additional 5k on that base salary, same sign-on, and a 1250 quarterly loading again. And then out to that outer regional location, so your more rural practices, which would be an Albany, for example, this evening, is an 85 base, 10K sign-on with a 2,500 quarterly load-in. If you have any questions around any of this information, please feel free to reach out to our team. I know it can be a little confusing sometimes. Every business talks about their salaries and their packages quite differently. With our bases, just remember that your super is also additional to this as well. So if you want to make that total package, just ensure you add that super on top. Sorry, bear with me, having some computer issues there. Fantastic. So just a few things on top of that in terms of additional benefits. So it is a bit of a common misconception that the graduate contracts run for 2 years. This isn't the case. So all of our contracts are permanent and ongoing contracts with that specific store that you join. It's the graduate program that runs over those 2 years, and that's all about supporting you as a newly qualified optometrist. Every contract also comes with up to $2,000 of CPD allowance per annum, your APRA registration per annum, and your professional indemnity insurance with that practice. And if you are relocating, which you know, all of you guys will be at this stage, you will also be eligible for up to $5,000 of relocation allowance. Birthday and volunteer leave, our favourite kind of leave, friends and family vouchers with 2 free pairs of glasses per annum as well. And then finally, you will get access to our Specsavers perks, which essentially offers discounts at over 400 well-known retailers. And this is exclusive to Specsavers employees and their families. I definitely don't utilise that enough. Probably need to jump on there and see what's happening on Specsavers perks. A lot of you will have heard all about Go With a Friend. So we've been running this incentive for around 3 years now, and it's been really successful. So essentially, we just wanted to incentivize newly qualified optometrists to, you know, grab a friend or a number of friends and head over to the same area. And I guess start that journey as an optometrist with someone that you know, especially moving out to, you know, a new location. We understand that it can be quite a difficult move. So if you take that support network with you and you've already got that in place, that's going to be of huge help. Even with things such as house sharing. You know, think about the costs there that, you know, you could potentially save, and just the ease of having someone to look for somewhere to live with, which is fantastic. So essentially this year we have upped our Go With a Friend incentive. So if you were to head over to WA and sign a contract prior to the end of June, you'd be looking at an additional $10,000 per person. Post the end of June, it would be an additional $7,500 per person. So all you need to do to be eligible for this additional incentive is let your graduate recruitment contact know who your friend or friends are prior to that interview process commencing. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up the evening, but the team, the graduate team and all of the partners would absolutely love to hear from you all. So we understand that there's quite a few of you on the call, and we did have a lot of partners talking through, you know, their opportunities this evening. So we haven't got that time for a Q&A session, but we would love to hear from you. So if you do have any questions this evening, please feel free to reach out to us, whether that's about WA or a particular store, and we'd be more than happy to help. We would love for you to be a part of the Specsavers journey, and we absolutely hope to soon welcome you on board as a Specsavers optometrist. Please stay on the line just to hear from a few of our fantastic optometrists and the difference that they're currently making to their patients' lives. I have a super quick video to run through. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we have no issues with this. Thanks again, everyone, and have a great evening. Thanks again, everyone, and have a fantastic rest of the week.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thanks, partners. Thank you, students. We hope to speak to you all soon.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Thank you for organising.
Thanks, Kate. You're very welcome. Thanks for joining.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Should have gone to Specsavers, guys. Come on now. Well done, graduate team.